Zachary stood on the edge of the bayou. He was fishing for minnows and crawdads to eat. But he didn't catch nothing to eat all that day. That night he walked home to the swamp on tired feet. When he walked in his cabin way off in the swampland, he called to his wife, who was named Emily, and he said to her, "What we got cooking for dinner?" She said, "We ain't got nothing much, Zachary. You know we got left only one little tater. I tried to make us a gumbo with that, but you can't get a meal out of just one small tater. I might as well try and cook up a straw hat." "Well, why you don't kill us a chicken for dinner?" Zachary said as he sat at his place. "And make chicken gumbo. You know that's my favorite." But Emily said, "That would be a disgrace. You know we got just one chicken out in the yard, what lays us an egg most every day. It would be a great sin to kill such a chicken with no egg for breakfast. Now, what would you say?" "Well, I guess you are right," he said as he sat there. "I'll try out that tater. I hope it's all right." But when he lifted his fork to his mouth for a taste, he knew right away he'd be hungry all night. Pushing that tater around with his fork, Zachary shut his eyes, trying real hard to pretend that the gumbo was something delicious. When just then he heard a noise out in the yard. That chicken was squawking and making a racket. Zachary ran to the window to look, and old Ratty Bois grabbed hold of his chicken and was gripping that bird in his teeth like a hook. Zachary was real mad. He grabbed a big stick and ran to the door and opened it wide. But that old Ratty Bois, it fell down dead at his feet, even before Zachary stepped outside. So he lifted that Ratty Bois up by the tail. "We got meat for dinner tonight, Emily," Zachary called with a grin, and then said, "Ratty Bois stew is real good. Wait and see." Then he slapped that old Ratty Bois down on the table, and he took a long knife and cut open the hide. He made a long slit in that Ratty Bois' belly and peeled off the skin to get what was inside. And then he said, "Emily, go and heat up the oven. Maybe you better put on some more wood. Put some grease in the pan. Throw in that tater. Take this Ratty Bois now and cook it real good. Me, I'm taking the skin from this critter on down the bayou to old Hebert's store. Maybe he'll trade me a bottle of wine. Or if I get lucky, I get something more." So Emily did just what Zachary said. And he got his pirogue and he headed downstream. He arrived at the store in the dark of the night, and his knocking woke Hebert right out of the dream. Old Hebert, he stuck his head out of the window. He held up a candle and said, "Who's that there?" Zachary said, "Why, it's me, Zachary, and this Ratty Bois skin I got here is real fair." Old Hebert, he said, "It's too dark, I can't see it. Better bring it inside into the light." So they took in that skin, and then with some nails they hung it up on the wall and stretched it real tight. Well, old Hebert, he studied that Ratty Bois skin. "You know, Zachary," the old man said, "that's the very best skin I've seen in some time. I can give you a bottle of wine and some bread." Well, as he headed home, Zachary was so proud to have gotten a Ratty Bois skin that's so fine that old Mr. Hebert traded him for it a whole loaf of bread along with the wine. Well, he was sure feeling good when the lassie got home. And he put down that wine and that bread at his plate. And then he opened that wine. And it really smelled good. Zachary just sat with a grin on his face. Well, Emily, he called to his wife. Is my rat de bois cooked? Is it ready to eat? She said, go and look in the oven yourself. Don't be so damn lazy. Go check your own meat. So Zachary got up and walked to the oven. Getting down on his knees, he opened the door. The sweet smell from inside was driving him crazy. When he opened the oven, he sniffed it some more. But would you believe it? What Zachary saw was the rat de bois sitting there grinning a grin. He took one look at Zachary, then finished eating that one tater gumbo and then wiped off its chin. It licked up all of the grease in the pan, and then it jumped over poor Zachary's head. It knocked over Zachary's bottle of wine and jumped out the window with Zachary's bread. The rat de bois had the bread under one arm. It grabbed up the chicken with its other hand, and off it ran into the dark in the woods. Zachary was so mad. He hardly could stand. Zachary stood and he peered in the darkness and said as he raised his fist over his head, someday I will get you for spilling my wine and stealing my chicken and also my bread. But that rat de bois, well, he had the last laugh. Later that night, he sneaked out of the woods and slipped in the window of old Hebert's store and quietly crept through the piles of dry goods. He looked round the store till he found a hammer and then found his skin nailed up on the wall. And using that hammer, he pulled out them nails, and when the last one was pulled, his skin, it did fall. And he picked up that skin and he carried it over where Mr. Hebert kept needle and thread. And putting that skin back on, just like a coat, he sewed himself up from his toes to his head. And quick as a wink, he was gone out the window. With his skin sewn back on, he was now good as new. He ran into the woods to eat that bread and chicken. And Zachary